All right, let's take a look at gold over here. Now, before we talk about gold, it's very important to talk about what's happening this week, right? This week we have ADP on Thursday. They're looking at 557,000 jobs, like people who got paid, and the previous was 117,000. This is a pretty drastic jump, right? NFP, looking at NFP, we have pound holiday, CAD holiday, euro holiday. Everyone's on holiday on Friday, and they're looking at a pretty big jump too, from 379,000 all the way to 633,000. That means a really, really strong dollar, right? So, hey, this may mean that gold starts dropping, and if gold starts dropping, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that means that this good news is being priced in on gold. So let's talk about gold on a weekly time frame here. Let's talk about this right here, right? So looking at price action on the weekly time frame, it's extremely bearish. Let's take a look on the monthly time frame. Monthly is basically rejecting back from in June in 2020 when we rejected 1674. We're rejecting this area. Now, if the month end is coming up in about 2 days, 3 days, right, and they're looking at really good NFP, this may mean that maybe the monthly candle went down, retraced to continue moving down again. Maybe, I don't know. Let's take a look on the weekly time frame. So looking on the weekly time frame, it's very clear that we created support at 1678, 1679, 1680, those prices right there. At the same time, we created a resistance at 1743, right? 1743, 1744. So let's just read this price action, right? Price came down, made a low, went up, created resistance. Now, anyone who's been following market fluidity, price action, candles and stuff like that, you could assume that if the next weekly candle could possibly very well create a top wick, respect the high of the previous candle, continue down to fill this wick, which is around 1732, 100 pips, right? And then if we break this low, then there's a very high possibility for price to continue down towards 1700, and then on the way down towards 1680. Right? But the problem is we need to take a look at that. How far do we want the next weekly candle to wick up? So for that, we need to take a look at the high of this weekly candle, which is around, let's say this is at 1746, right? So as long as the next weekly candle respects this high at 1746, 1745, there's a good probability weekly candle is going to continue down. But if we break above the high, then we could very well continue moving up towards 1780. Now also remember, there's really, really good NFP coming. If gold starts dropping, that means that news is already priced in, right? Because market's moving that way. So let's take a look on the daily time frame. So looking at the daily, we're basically creating a support at 1721, right? We have a really strong resistance up over here. You can see how gold is just ranging on the daily time frame. And what do we learn about range? The bigger the range, the bigger the breakout. Yeah, exactly, right? So look, we've been ranging for about 2 weeks now, right? 16 odd days over here ranging. And yeah, let's see if NFP is going to be the catalyst to break gold out. So let's take a look over here. So looking on the 4-hour time frame, so remember this is the top of the weekly wick right over here. So we're going to remove this yellow line and we're going to replace this with a zone. And we're going to get our zone right here and put it right at 1745, right? And we know that if we break above this area, which was also a rejection back on 25th March around New York Open, if we break above this area, then there's a very high probability the price can continue up towards the resistance at 1750, 1752, and then we can start to have conversations about that, right? So looking on the 1-hour time frame, yeah, that makes sense right here. Right, so if we break above 1745, 1746, there's a very high probability we can continue up towards, 1750. 1750, 1751, right? Because we got clean range here on the left hand side, right? So that's in the case if we start breaking up, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking at. Now, looking at it from from a intersection level over here for buys, let's take a look at it from an intersection level, right? So first of all, we have a resistance at 1734, and then we have a support down at 1730, right? Now let's take a look on the 30-minute time frame. It's very clear that we have a resistance at 1734, 1734.50. Let's draw a yellow line here indicating somewhat of a level. If we break, we can continue moving bullish. If you want to measure this wick now, because in momentum, if we break 1734, this is like a 25 pip range over here for the wick fill. And then for continuation, we can squeeze it up to 1737, 1738 in buying perspective, right? Now, looking at it from a selling perspective, which I would like, because good NFP, and if price is priced in, I think it's going to be pretty good sells, right? So if we break below 1730, right over here, below this wick on the 1 hour time frame, there's a very high possibility we can continue down in this 58 to 60 pip range, straight down towards 1724. Look at that range, man. 58, 69 pips over here. It should be a clean break below this 1 hour candle low right over here, right? And we got clean candles to the left hand side. Bias is bearish, expecting great NFP. And if we kind of break below this area 1724, then we're on our way down towards, I would say, this wick fill to the left hand side, 1720. And if we break 1720, oh boy, we are gone towards 1700, right? So you can take a look right here. It's very clear. Now, if you look on the weekly time frame, again, if we break above 1745, which is a resistance on the 4 hour and 1 hour, then there's a very high possibility price can continue moving bullish, probably with this wick fill or even the wick fill at 1760. Who knows? We're going to wait and see, right? For sells, we need price to respect 1745, 1744, and then continue moving down. Now let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. In the same time, we need price to respect 1734, 1736, and then continue down. But I guess really good sells are going to be below 1730 and below 1724. So let's see what happens, how gold opens, how gold reacts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And if the sells happen, man, like this weekly candle, yeah, wick up and down. But if you break above the high, then possibly we're going to continue moving bullish, right? So that notion of NFP being priced in is going to go out the window. So let's see what happens. Take care, everybody. We'll see you guys in the morning tomorrow.